of From the Ground Up, my interview with Mr. Rolf Illenberger, the founder and CEO of VRdirect, a pioneering software company specializing in virtual reality solutions for businesses. In our interview, we talk about the future of the metaverse, how AI fits into it, and how we're all going to experience it. I hope you enjoyed this episode of From the Ground Up. When it comes to VR, it's something that people, it's kind of started to take a little bit of the back burner in a lot of Americans' minds, especially as AI has become a sort of more of a buzzworthy topic here in the States. But one thing that people will remember if they think about AI for just a few seconds is that Apple came out with its Vision Pro, and there is a continued advancement in development related, partly because of that and around that. If you could talk just a little bit about sort of the arrival of that and how it affects your business and also what you see it as becoming sort of like the future for your area as well.
So first of all, I think it's worth noting that AI and virtual reality or metaverse, to keep it a bit broader, is not something that is competing with each other. A lot of people make up this story of, has Meta turned away from metaverse and now turned toward AI? That's not the case. It's not like companies decide whether they go the metaverse route or they go the AI route. That's two sides of the same story, so to say. The metaverse is the future in that we all gonna live in terms of the technology environment, the technology world, and that we all will find ourselves in 4, 5, 6, 7 years from today. And it's important to know that metaverse is not just VR, it's AR, it's voice recognition, it's contextual, it's, in my perspective, it's mostly metaverse is about, making the interaction between humans and the digital world and technology more intuitive than it is today. So that to me, that's the essence of the metaverse. While AI is certainly an extremely powerful technology, but it's more like a behind the scenes technology. Of course, we will see the results of that, but it's not changing the way technology. Kind of how we interact with technology. It's making technology extremely more intelligent and capable, but it's not really changing something of how we interact with technology. So it's two sides of to me, it's two sides of the same story. We will live in a metaverse future AI enabled kind of. So I see these big guys in our industry investing in both parts. Of course, when we talk about new technologies or innovative topics in general, it's always a hype cycle topic, and AI is just shooting up, like blockchain shoot it up, like metaverse shoot it up, and also AI will go through the same hype cycle. No technology ever in the last 50 years has escaped the hype cycle. So there will be the downturn of AI as well as it did with all other technologies. And metaverse is a very broad topic, actually, made up by different technologies, as I just mentioned, VR, AR, voice recognition, edge computing, blah, blah, blah. But if you look at them more specifically, and you mentioned the back burner thing with VR, of course, VR went through this hype cycle. And this hype cycle, to be fair, for virtual reality took a decade, probably. But having said that, we are now on this, what is it called, the hype cycle slope of productivity. The hype, there's not so much hype anymore, but it's real deployment, it's real use cases, it's real applications that we're seeing. So I would always argue, yes, it took a while, but we're now at a point, at some kind of an inflection point in terms of the hardware is ready. It's probably not mass market B2C ready, but it's definitely B2B ready. The use cases are there, and also software like ours enables really everyone to master these technologies. So a few things come together, which really brings the whole thing to this kind of inflection point that we're seeing a scaling on a broader scale now.
For VRdirect, how do you see your company integrating more? You already probably have started to integrate more AI into your offering, but what are some of the ways that you're going to be integrating AI more into VRdirect's product?
Absolutely. Yeah, we are just releasing our first AI-enabled feature, so to say, that is if a content creator uses our platform and doesn't have let's say VR or 360 content at hand, he can use like a text prompt and create a virtual environment. So just to give an example, if someone wants to create some kind of a safety training in an office environment, and he doesn't have an office environment as a 360 scene, he can just type in, I need an whatever doctor's office or something, and then the AI will create this 360 image. It's basically it's an image. It's an image, an engine creating images, but we have integrated that with our service. And the next steps will be integrating AI more in the creator process in general, meaning people can interact with our software in a way that they tell our software what kind of VR project they would like to create, and then an AI engine helps them to simplify the creator process. So that's kind of the next step of integrating AI.
All right. And any other future plans for VRdirect as far as integrating AI into the product more? Some of the other ways you're planning on using it?
Definitely. I mean, we're also looking into using AI as a way to create, how to say, the intelligent interaction options within a VR project. So talking to an avatar and getting AI supported answers, or interaction methods. I just had a conversation yesterday evening with a customer of ours, which is an insurance company. And this insurance company is building and kind of their own AI engine to help people understand their insurance needs and find the right insurance level and what have you. I mean, that's totally not our business, but if they're creating this engine, we can integrate that with our service, and then the avatar will be the visualization of the engine that's behind the scenes, and then this avatar will talk to you and talk you through your ideal insurance level, whatever.
Shift gears and talk just a little bit about the return to work. Even in some of the big American cities, a lot of folks are coming back to work, but they're coming back to work just 1, 2, 3 days a week. How do you see VRdirect sort of helping? Maybe where do you see it going? How do you see it looking? How does VR fit into that? And then how does VRdirect fit into all of that?
Let's say this whole hybrid work, new work, whatever you want to call it, is clearly a super driver for the adoption of virtual reality. No doubt about it. I mean, we as a VR industry, we wouldn't be at the point where we are today if for all bad things the pandemic had. It's clear, everyone knows this. This was for our industry. It was clearly, I don't know the English word, but it made things much faster for our industry. So if we're talking about remote work in general, VR is certainly a technology that can benefit companies a lot in terms of remote work. I do see a future where employers will have, not everyone, right, but a large group of employees will have VR headsets as part of their standard setup. It will not replace the laptop. I'm not with Mark Zuckerberg on that. It will not replace the laptop, at least not in the near-term future. It will complement your setup. You will have a laptop, you'll have a smartphone, and you will have a VR headset. And then it's gonna be quite usual to have a safety training, to have an onboarding on a new product, your new whatever sales targets or sales story, whatever the topic is, being demonstrated and being presented to you via VR headsets. That's going to be a regular thing in already in some kind of the near-term future. What we see today is enterprises starting to use VR in a kind of controlled internal setup. So they purchase VR headset, and then for new employees, for their onboarding, for safety trainings, whatever, they use this. And the next logical step is to to equip your workforce with VR headsets. And I believe we're not far away from that situation. And then VR is going to be a great tool, because ultimately it's a piece of technology that allows you to improve the communication ultimately between you as the company and your employees, or also even your customers and partners. Improve the communication. You can do things better than you can do that with video conferencing or with a telephone call, or so. But having said that, I also believe that it will not replace the means of communication that we have today. It will not replace video conferencing. It will not replace email. It will be an add-on, just like other media and technologies have added to the tech stack that we already have. And where it makes sense, I'm thinking about a safety training. Safety training is a perfect example, or demonstrating a new product. Right, my company has we have a customer of ours is producing medical devices, right? Super complex. I don't even understand what they're doing. And the even teaching your own people what the product can do is very complex, right? It's like, and they've started to use VR for that, and they send out VR headsets to their sales organization, to the salespeople, to train them on the products. It's not a technical training. These guys should never do maintenance on these devices. They should just know enough to be able to sell it at the end of the day. And we'll see these cases more and more.
Sounds like it will have an effect on whether, the speed at which people come back, how much they come back to physically to the office, but perhaps not all that much. Like you said, it's just going to be an additional tool that's going to add to the technology stack that'll give more options.
My assumption to this whole, but that's aside from our business, to this whole people coming back, is I sense that people aren't coming back in the way that they do this 9 to 5 job. They're coming back for, we're going to have our team meeting on Wednesday, so I'm going to be in the office because it's our team meeting thing. But people really reduce their time. The FaceTime, as we've said in consulting in my early days, the FaceTime in the office that's worthless anymore. You don't sit around. You come to the office because there's a point in coming to the office on Wednesdays. But I don't see people, especially the younger generations, ever doing what we used to do, like 9 to 5, just spending time in the office because that's what you do. I don't think that this will ever come back.
I agree. It makes sense to me.